Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher X video. All right, today we're back with some more Philomena Cunk because you guys have been wanting it and you know I'm down. So we're going to be checking out some more episodes from Moments of Wonder. All right, let's get started. All right, there should be a ton of stuff that I have not seen yet, so I am excited to laugh along with Miss Cunk. Moments of Wonder. Philomena Cunk.
For thousands of years, man has been getting better, thanks to one single thing: medicines.
True.
Medicines means we can
Change
treat
everything.
everything from made-up diseases like the plague to modern epidemics like allergicness to bread. The ancient Egyptians thought that onions were medicine,
Yeah,
but they're
kinda.
not. They literally
What?
didn't know they're onions, and that's where we get the phrase from. Of course, today we now know that onions are not a medicine. Onions are disgusting. Despite all the advances...
I'll be honest, I grew up an onion hater, and now I like to put them in things like that I cook, not just like a topping on a sandwich or something, no, but like into things you cook.
Medicine. There is still some things we can't cure. The common cold, the squints, dicky tummies. Doctors
Brits,
are
what are
working
those?
on this as we speak. And even when we're not speaking, because some of them work nights. To understand
I always love those
medicine,
faces she makes.
the best way is to try them all. But apparently that's dangerous.
Yes.
So I'm talking to a medicine man.
All right.
Hello, who are you?
My name is John Martin.
Who are you?
I'm a
She always
doctor.
says that.
And what do you do?
I'm Professor of Cardiovascular Medicine at University College London, which means that I see patients, I do research, and I teach.
So what's medicines?
Medicines, if we're talking about tablets,
Well, I was thinking more the liquid ones.
well, the liquid ones are the same as the tablets, only they're normally given to children who can't take tablets.
Oh, right.
That's a big difference.
Why can't we get medicine crisps? You know, because no one likes needles and everyone likes crisps.
It's true.
Well, there's a thing called the
Potato
risk-benefit
chips.
ratio. So whenever we do anything to a patient, we have to weigh up the harm we're doing as opposed to the good we're doing.
True,
And there's always
true.
a downside. And
True,
if we had
true.
medicine crisps, I think the amount of carbohydrate
Shots are
and fats
vaccines.
and salt we'd be taking in with the crisps would outweigh the good that's done by the medicine. So I think that's a very good idea, actually.
Right. And like, if you had like Monster Munch, that wouldn't work as well as
Monster Munch?
medicines.
So
Am I missing out on that
Monster
too?
Munch, could you explain that?
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
like a puffy crisp. They're lovely. You can get like pickled onion and beef.
Right. Again, I'd have to weigh up the risk-benefit ratio of, what did you call the monster?
Monster Munch.
Monster Munch mixed with the medicine. The bad it would do versus the good.
Right.
God, I love history and comedy just needs to keep like happening. We need to make more shows like this. If you're watching this, you obviously love watching history shows. There are so many fantastic history shows on YouTube, Netflix, and other video platforms. In fact, I learned about Philomena from Netflix, and it made me think, what if I could watch historical shows and learn about more than history? For example, what if I could learn a new language while watching history shows? I know that watching foreign language shows helps you learn another language. I routinely talk to my global community over on my Discord server, and it's always so impressive to me to see so many people speak perfect English without ever living in an English-speaking country. And I often ask them, how did you learn English so well? And there's one thing they all say. They learned English from watching shows they like. With that being said, let me tell you about Lingo Pai. Lingo Pai teaches you language while watching TV shows and movies from all over the world in many different languages. And I've been checking it out for a while now and actually found a bunch of history-related shows. Let me show you an example. So I've been brushing up on my Spanish, and I've been watching a fun history show called Corpse Talk. And they do episodes on famous people from history. As I watch the show, it shows me subtitles in English and in Spanish. The big difference though is I can click on each Spanish word that I don't know, and it'll show the definition, repeat the pronunciation,
Engreído.
and automatically create flashcards, quizzes, and other review games. And you can even speak the word into your microphone, and it'll give you instant feedback on how you did. ¿No te hizo un poco engreído? Yes. And I'm having a lot of fun with it right now. And they're giving my viewers a great offer to get started. You're going to get a 7-day free trial and a special discount. So use the link down in the description and have fun. All right, back to the video.
Bon Jovi sung about bad medicine. I think we're going to look at a clip of that now.
Right.
Don't worry. If you can just nod your head as if you've seen the clip. So, was that medically accurate?
No, it wasn't.
Medicine did more than anything to like extend our human lives. I mean, before the Industrial Revolution and the mass production of so many of these medicines, we were so much more susceptible to be able or to die from things that now are pretty much commonly curable. And it's why we live longer on average, less likely to, catch one of these things that can actually kill us. But that really is since the Industrial Revolution.
They say that laughter's the best medicine.
Play with the curtain.
But if that were true, why do so many comedians die of cancer?
True.
Perhaps they weren't funny enough. It's a sobering thought. And
I don't want her to die, though.
Because many comedians are also alcoholics.
That's so true, though.
Next time on Moments
It really
of
is. It's so true. I'm so sad how many great comics and people we lose from Hollywood and just comedy from like the alcohol and the drug use. Like, I wish Chris Farley was still around.
I'll be asking, where did these robots come from?
All right, next episode. So these really are just like 5 minutes or something.
For centuries and millennia, man lived outdoors, hunting deer and nuts.
By the way, was this show like, I know it's like little clips, was it like inserted into another show? You know what I mean? Or did they really just have like, a half hour, like shows are, and you have like just these little like 3, 4, 5 minute segments? This is kind of seems like something they inserted into another show. You know what I mean?
Then one day it must have rained, and man discovered a new place, indoors.
I am learning,
man made his biggest discovery since he
English
indoors,
in this.
Architecture. To see old architecture, you only have to look around somewhere like London City, which is like a museum full of old buildings, but all outside where you can see them.
By the way, I learned from, I guess, I feel like it was, from like Google Earth, but also from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, that you have like London, the London area, but then like within London, there's like the city of London. Is that kind of what she's talking about here? Is that like the old downtown London?
Inside,
I was trying to figure that out a little bit.
Like things in proper museums are. Behind me is St. Paul's, which was designed and built single-handed by Sir Christopher Robin. It's considered an amazing piece of architecture because it's both a building and a church.
Oh, both?
In olden times, everyone in London City, from barons to milkmen, lived in a house like this.
Oh, really?
But then in War
I'm
II,
sure.
Hitler
Not the slums of London. Like, it was so bad. We were talking about the Industrial Revolution there and how people were living longer, but the crowded nature of London was so bad. They'd cholera outbreaks. Pretty much the modern day plague pretty much broke out in London until they started doing a lot better and figuring out sanitation and separating your clean water from your sewage water and all those things. There was no regulation back then.
Thousands of bombs on the city, killing loads of the architecture and forcing the wartime cockneys to live in tubes. When they came out of the ground, they needed somewhere to live in a hurry. So the government quickly put up tall buildings without any architecture in for people to live in.
You mean the Soviet buildings? Oh, such brutal, but efficiency, I guess. Everyone gets cheap housing, right?
All these buildings are thought of as ugly today. Some are considered hideous eyesores instead. This is the National Theatre.
That is not good looking.
It's designed to look so horrible that people are glad to be inside watching boring plays.
They'd rather be inside than outside. I mean, that literally looks like something from like the Soviet Union in like the 60s, some Khrushchev era thing where they're like, hey, we did a little bit of style, but we still got to do drab mass concrete.
To be inside watching boring plays.
What is that big point, the big pointier one?
It's full of modern architecture, which looks like sort of fish tanks made of graph paper, which the inhabitants use for earning money in.
Okay.
One person who knows all about architecture
that thing was so polluted
is this
then.
person. We spoke to him on the phone yesterday to make sure he could talk properly before we spent all the money on cameras.
See, this is why you got to learn other languages and even other versions of your own language.
Who are you?
I'm Ian Borden. I'm a professor of architecture at University College London.
What is a building?
A building is anything that anyone has built.
So my shoes are a building.
There may not be a building, they're a physical object. I guess a building is also something that people in some way live in or inhabit.
Right. My
What about a
nephew
warehouse?
makes buildings in Minecraft. How much more does he need to do to be
Oh
considered?
my gosh, how many of you were here when I got tricked into / overly invested in a stream I did where the idea was that chat was going to suggest Minecraft buildings from history, and I'd build it for like an hour. The donation was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. I was on for 10 hours making it. It was, I don't know, a high point or a low point in my life, but yeah. You can find that stream over on my gaming channel, Mr. Terry Gaming.
Qualified architect.
Well, to be a qualified architect in this country, you have to study 5 years at university and do at least 2 years in professional practice.
And how many of those years would be studying Minecraft?
Very few of them. You could continue
you do it
looking at
before.
Minecraft at the same time, but you wouldn't normally use Minecraft as
You can
part
get good
of an
ideas.
architectural education.
Come on.
Speaking as an expert in architecture, do you ever watch
How do they learn
Homes
about
Under
creepers?
the Hammer?
No, I don't know.
You don't watch Homes Under the Hammer?
I've never seen it, no.
What is that?
You've never seen Homes Under the
What
Hammer?
is that?
I've never seen Homes Under the Hammer.
He's so serious about it.
Why not? You must have heard about it.
Flabbergasted.
Heard about it, no?
Don't you and the other architects talk about it?
It's not a subject that's ever come up, no.
Nerds.
I think you'd enjoy it. I think you'd get a lot out of it.
I shall go and have a look, yes.
Yeah, I think you should.
They should stop the interview and then
Maybe one
resume.
day, human beings won't need buildings anymore.
Yeah.
Although, for that to happen, we'd probably need to evolve skins made of bricks. And that might take at least another 30 years.
Yeah, at least.
So until then,
Maybe even 35.
buildings it is. Next time on Moments of Wonder.
All right, that was funny. Again, I love it when she just presses the nerdy intellectuals there. All right, what's in the next one?
I'll be asking, why do we cry when it's the onions that are getting hurt?
I get the teary stuff, but not as bad as I think some people did. So I worked at a sandwich restaurant in high school, and like they were literally, I had coworkers that couldn't cut the onions. Like they just couldn't handle it, and I would end up being the guy that would cut the onions for the day. But it still messes with you, There we go. Ooh.
All of nature, apart from maybe daisies and waterfalls, is a brutal struggle for power.
Agreed.
These
Darwin
horse
was
monster
right.
things are using their wooden headsticks in a primal battle to decide which of them should be in charge.
Yep. Which
The
one gets the
winner
lady?
will become king
You
of
see
the
the ladies? See the lady deers? They're like, yeah, like let's see who's gonna be the one to carry on our genes.
herd. The other will probably have to leave and find work as a different sort of animal.
Yeah, they can just change it.
Unlike animals, we don't have to fight to decide who's in charge.
Yeah, we do.
Instead, we do a vote. A vote
No.
that would be pointless
More
without
wars than
something
votes.
called democracy. Democracy was invented in ancient Greece
Yup.
by the ancient
Not
Greeks.
really, but yeah. We
Probably
actually talked recently. We're doing ancient river valley civilizations in my class. We're talking about Indus Valley civilization, and they hypothesized that they may have been democratic, especially because of when we see the archaeology and the layout of the city. Shows a lot of like equality and equal access to a lot of public works and things like that, and they just hypothesize based off of other things like that, like were they potentially democratic, one of the first democracies, because we're talking like 3,500 years ago at least.
after a vote. It's hard. The ancient Greeks, probably after a vote. It's hard to imagine
She went
that
back
this
to
was
Greece.
the beginning of democracy. So to help you imagine, we've got 2 actors in expensive costumes and some other people in trainers and sheets.
Wouldn't have been
slightly out
white
of
like that.
focus.
Sorry, you had sheets.
Just like other Greek inventions, like
By the way, that golden age of democracy was most basically just in Athens, and it was like 50 years. The democracy got so corrupted on the verge of the Peloponnesian War that basically democracy actually failed in Greece pretty quickly.
thick yogurt, sodomy.
Wait, what?
Just like other Greek inventions like thick yogurt, sodomy, and triangles, democracy has taken the world by storm.
That's sodomy.
Someone
Greeks
who
were
didn't
open about
agree
that.
with democracy was Adolf Hitler.
Oh,
Hitler didn't have much to do with democracy at
said
all.
it fails.
But people do
Capitalist
like watching
propaganda.
documentaries about Hitler, so we've put him in, which is democratic.
Mussolini. Which is what?
Documentaries about Hitler, so we've put him in, which is democratic.
Okay.
Which he'd hate.
Well, okay, we all talk about, like, you know, the politics of it. The Nazi Party itself won a lot of seats democratically. It was just when Hitler came into power and democratic reform with the death of von Hindenburg. Then he comes in, usurps power. Then you got the, burning of the Reichstag, gives him executive powers and all that stuff. But the Nazi Party in the 20s up until about 1932 was winning seats, democratically. So they were democratic there.
British
at the start, at least.
Began in Knights in Armour times here at Runnymede. Which sounds worse than it is. Britain used to be ruled by a king or queen, just like now, except back then they were treated like a god, rather than a slightly better version of someone off Made in Chelsea.
What's that?
Royal behaviour was total shithouse, until eventually the people rose up and made King John sign the Magna Carta.
Magna Carta. It should totally have been called that. That's way better. Yep. King's going to have to give up some power to the nobles.
To Google Translate, Magna Carta is Latin for cardboard volcano. It was a sort of contract that granted everyone in Britain a democratic voice. Soon, Britain had its own parliament.
Not really,
which
though.
could stop the king doing what he wanted.
It was still nothing like, here. It's still, the nobles are still have a lot of power here. But
simple process of cutting his head off.
Yeah.
Parliament remains here to this day, in one of the world's most iconic buildings, Big Ben House.
Big Ben.
To find out more about
Parliament burned before.
I've got an expert here with me. Hello, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm Robert Hazel, and I'm Professor of Government and the Constitution at University College London.
What makes democracy a better way to pick a Prime Minister than just letting them take turns?
I'm not sure how this alternative system would work, where you say, we let them take turns.
Well, if one does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh.
And then another Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Should we do that?
And suppose we were running a company. Would you allow any stranger to be in charge of it for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
I mean, it's only 3 days.
And a different person to be in charge Thursday, Friday, Saturday? That's not a sensible way to go about anything.
What would happen?
Okay, you don't see too many of the people that, she interviews, get snarky back to her. Let's see how she can handle this.
If we voted to end democracy.
Ooh. An oxymoron.
How would we do that?
A vote.
Take a vote.
Yeah.
And what would the vote say?
I vote to end democracy.
Got it.
And what would we put in its place?
Doesn't matter. We'd vote on it.
Well, it wouldn't be a
we'd have to vote
thing to end one system of government.
This is a weird thing that, are you thinking about it as he's talking about it? What if you voted for a monarchy? You're like, you know what? Let's just put it up in a bill. We'll vote. We'll end our whole government, parliament, Congress, whatever it is, wherever you live. And you're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to vote and instill an absolute monarchy.
Without knowing what system of government you're going to replace it with.
Yeah.
It's like saying, let's
vote for
to
anarchy.
leave our house.
Yeah, sure.
Without knowing where we're going to go and live next.
Some people do that.
No one's going to do that.
Some people do that.
I bet you're terrible to go on holiday with.
Homeless people, unfortunately.
Election day is your chance to do democracy. You don't have to stand up and be counted. You can sit down and be ignored if you like. Because that's your democratic right. You can choose not to matter.
Yeah.
And that matters if you want it to.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yes.
Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be finding out how to get the noise out of plates.
What? I feel like there's more to that than I'm thinking there. All right, that was pretty good. He, talking about democracy and things like that. So I don't know. You think it could happen? Democracy ending by a vote? People will talk about it ending, by some usurping of power, but what if it ended by a vote? Should we address, or should we basically just respect those wishes of the people if they want to vote it away? Are there any instances of that in history? Let me know.
We used to think men were from Mars and women were from Venus.
Yep, literally.
The scientists now believe they both hatched on Earth thousands, maybe even hundreds of years ago.
Oh, shoot.
But even though there have
Creationists,
probably
where you
been
at?
women on the planet as long as men, for most of that time, the two sides haven't been equal. The only things that make a woman different from a man are her breasts and vagina, and also his testicles and penis.
Demonetized video incoming.
It's easy to see these fearsome and almighty genitals convinced generations of men that they were superior.
Yep. They did make them pretty small back then,
In Victorian times, women weren't allowed to vote.
Victoria.
Even though we had a female king.
True.
So some women formed a gang called the suffragettes.
Yeah?
The suffragettes did things that were considered shocking at the time, like throwing themselves in front of the king's racehorse. They did this partly to highlight how unfair it was that women didn't have a vote, but horses did. And also because
I'll be honest, I gotta learn more about suffrage movements in other countries. A lot of the other countries, especially ones that are, considered powerful democratic countries here. I know about it in the United States, World War I plays a role, but yeah, somewhere like here, like in Britain, I got a lot to learn.
They really like ponies.
Yeah.
They also went on hunger strike, sparking the cool fad for women's diets that continues to this day.
That is where Gandhi got it.
The suffragettes opened doors for millions of women.
Taxation without representation? Dude, are they using it against us? The Brits are using it against us Americans?
Before, they had to wait for men to open those doors for them.
Is this even in Britain?
If it wasn't for the suffragettes, I probably wouldn't be standing here now. I'd be in a kitchen where I belong. Amazingly, it took until 1928 for the women of Britain to be given a vote. And
wait, what year was it again?
It took until 1928 for the women of Britain
after
to
the
be
Americans?
given a vote. And not just
we beat
a vote,
you?
but a vote each, which is fairer.
Yeah.
Even though women had a vote, they were still second class, like a shit stamp. So in the 1960s century, there was a new wave of feminists.
Yeah.
Back in old but still in colour
The civil rights movement of Britain, wearing shorter bathing suits.
times, women were seen as eye candy, which are sweets you eat just by looking at them. Then
Who was that guy?
in 1970,
British Donald Trump.
feminists protested at the Miss World show and threw ink bombs at Bob Hope, ruining his chances of winning.
What?
Today, shallow beauty contests are unacceptable, and women are more visible everywhere.
I never heard of
taking
that.
important roles in landmark high-quality television programs like Game of Thrones and True Detective. Despite all that, today a woman's half as likely to earn over £50,000 a year than a man. And to add insult to injury, that money will most likely have a picture of a man on it.
Yep.
Because most banknotes don't have women on them.
True.
Apart from the Queen,
They
who's
have
on
it.
all of them.
The British have a bunch of that.
But what is feminism anyway? To find out more, I asked an expert.
Oh.
Hello, who are you?
I'm Mary Evans. I'm a Centennial Professor at the Gender Institute at the London School of Economics.
What does that mean?
And what is a feminist?
A feminist is a person, male or female, who thinks that women should have the same human and civic rights as men.
Can a feminist wear makeup?
Well, I'm wearing it at the moment, and so I would think that's perfectly possible.
Okay.
What if they found out they might cast you out? Do you think?
I'm not sure who would cast me out. I don't think people go around
The
casting people
anti-feminists?
out.
If men were women, do you think they'd have been better at doing feminism than we are?
Oh, snap.
I don't think men would
question.
be any better than women are at putting forward the feminist case.
They're always thinking about sex, aren't they?
Like a lot of people, they're thinking about how to pay their mortgages, how to put food on the table. There are lots of questions to fill up everybody's daily lives.
So they're just like us, really, aren't they? They've got their own little personalities.
Yeah.
I think they have, and some of those personalities are a lot littler than other personalities.
Oh.
But there's certainly a very, very rich range of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
When a feminist looks in the mirror, do they see an equal woman or a better woman?
They quite often, like all of us, look for what they want to see, and they look for what they hope to see.
That's true.
You see yourself back to front, don't you, in a mirror? But not upside down. Why is that?
Our eyes.
Well, hopefully, because that's the way that mirrors are designed.
Isn't it also weird, too? Have you heard about that? How actually the light that goes into our eyes, it's reversed, but then our brain fixes it or changes it? That's so weird.
What powers a mirror?
I love the brain.
Sorry, you're not the mirrors expert, are you?
I'm afraid not.
You have a mirror. Is there a mirrors expert out here?
Men in vans still whistle at women in the street, though thanks to feminism, the man in the van might be a woman, and the woman they're whistling at might be a prime minister.
Oh.
Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be asking, why is the world's hair such a weird colour?
Oh, grass. Green's very nice. All right, guys, we're going to stop here. Let me know if you want me to continue on with some more episodes here. Again, this is Moments of Wonder, and it's a lot of fun, though. But yeah, let me know if you want to keep, have me keep watching this. Again, thanks to Lingo Pai for sponsoring this video. Get that link down below. Get started. Have fun. Let me know how you're doing with it, too, over on Discord. All right, we'll see you all next time.